I like fighting games. I really like fighting games. In most video games in the modern era, you either play on your own or you play with a team. Not in fighting games. In essence, fighting games are about you versus another player. No teammates, no squad. You win, all the glory and bragging rights are yours. But if you lose, the only place to pin the blame is on yourself. However, fighting games have an air of complexity surrounding them, which causes them to be quite niche and unpopular to most mainstream gamers. Fighting games are different from first-person shooters, RPGs, puzzle games, rhythm games. Fighting games are different. Fighting games can change the most mundane thing on the surface into a complex electronic game of chess. For example, take a look at this clip. To a clueless onlooker or just someone who simply isn't a fan of fighting games, this exchange may just look kinda boring. They're just spamming fireballs. But to those in the fighting game community, the interaction between these two fighting game legends is nothing short of electrifying. Just listen to the crowd react to the round's outcome.
Game changer in this match for you.
Oh, smart. Great prediction.
Wow.
Oh, Daigo looking out for
He
that.
lands on the
Super.
fireball, and Daigo with super, and that's it. There's no way out.
Good stuff from Alex Valle.
The fighting game community, or as it's more commonly known as the FGC, is very near and dear to my heart. It consists of streamers, content creators, commentators, players, all of which are as deeply in love with fighting games as I am. However, as I explained, fighting games are you versus another player, and as a result, events in the FGC are always in person. Tournaments such as EVO, CEO, Combo Breaker, and countless others, all of these events for the longest time were in-person tournaments, and watching fighting games at a high level is a truly fun to watch esport in my opinion. However, it seems that the rest of the world might not see it that way. As I mentioned, fighting games are quite niche, especially when compared to other competitive esports like Overwatch or League of Legends. Just to show how popular other games are when compared to the FGC, let's take a look at an example. Last year in 2021, a major tournament, the International Tournament for Dota 2, was held. A MOBA, or team-based multiplayer online battle arena game. The winning team, Team TI10, won a grand total of $18.2 million from a grand total prize pool of $40 million. A truly staggering amount of money. Yes, that money is split between the team members and money is removed after tax, but even after that, the team would still be receiving a life-changing amount of money. How much money do you think Bonchan won for coming in first in the world for Street Fighter V at EVO 2019, one of the biggest fighting game tournaments of all time?
He's still in this. It's not going to kill.
He's got one more chance. This is his moment.
One mix-up.
UAE.
What?
Oh, and a counter.
From Bonchan. He jumps back. He read it and he takes it. Bonchan
In this
is
moment.
now your grand champion for Evolution 2019. Bonchan.
$31,700. Don't get me wrong, that is a large amount of money. But the disparity between the grand prize amounts of these two games is astronomical. The reason I bring the prize money up is to show how little money is relatively poured into the FGC when compared to other more popular games. EVO, the Evolution Championship, otherwise known as the Battle by the Bay, is the largest fighting game tournament ever. And Street Fighter V is one of the most popular games at EVO. Yet, despite that, the prize pool is relatively low when compared to other, more popular games. I haven't really been to many fighting game events myself, but I always looked forward to them. I always loved to tune in online and watch the stream, watch my favourite players play my favourite games. The same way a sports fan cheers their favourite team. However, for a long time, I wasn't really able to do that. In March of 2020, the dreaded coronavirus appears and the whole world shuts down. Schools and universities lock up, hospitals fill up, supermarkets are empty, and the whole world starts to adorn masks while everyone stays 2 meters apart from each other. It wasn't immediate and it wasn't every single FGC event, but the oncoming tidal wave of cancelled FGC events was nothing short of soul-crushing.
You guys doing all right? Last week we saw that like probably half a dozen events have either pulled out or said or postponed or stuff like that. Everybody has said like that hasn't canceled, it just said we're monitoring the situation. It's been a big concern. GDC obviously canceled, South by Southwest is canceled. So this is so far Capcom put out a post where they say, hey, this is what's been canceled so far, this is what's been postponed, we'll be monitoring the situation. Brussels Challenge, NorCal Regionals, April Annihilations, Taipei Major canceled. Postponed is Fighter Spirit in Korea and the mix-up in France. Particularly in large groups is, at risk for something like this to happen, which is why, if you guys hadn't heard, E3 canceled.
Craziness happened this week. The FGC event that we all thought was gonna hold out forever, Combo Breaker announced its indefinite cancellation for 2020.
That's the best thing to do, I guess, but it's the best thing to do, but still
they haven't got a choice, to be honest.
They haven't got. Yeah, I agree. They don't have a choice, but it's unfortunate, man. That sucks. But I don't know. Then are these events happening, or are the events going to be cancelled?
Whenever I'd be going through a rough patch, I would always at least have fighting games to look forward to, tournaments to practice for, friends to hang out with, and events to look forward to that would help me get through every week. Having something to look forward to would always keep me going. Whether the thing I was trying to get through was school or work related, it didn't matter. As long as I could play some Persona, or Street Fighter, or BlazBlue, or Under Night, or Dragon Ball, as long as I could do that at the end of the week, then I at least had something to look forward to.
So I ask you this. How the hell am I supposed to play a fighting game when I can't even sit next to someone to play with? Sitting next to your opponent as you play a fighting game with them is a great feeling. Meeting people who share the same passion as you feels even better, but unfortunately, for a lot of members of the FGC, those feelings were gone for quite a long time. As a result of the coronavirus, less and less money was getting put into the fighting game community, more specifically FGC events, as no in-person tournaments could be held with the new health guidelines due to COVID.
So that got me thinking, we should talk about how fighting game players make money and how much do they potentially make, because the answer will shock you. Just kidding, it's not much. Spoilers, there's not many ways and there's not much money, but there is some.
There are only a few ways to make money in the FGC, but I feel like a few of them are very important to mention given this video's context. You have being a player, from tournament winnings, from sponsorships and being part of a team like Punk, Kizzy K and Hook Gang God and everyone at Panda Global. You can be a fighting game commentator or analyst and be paid for making mid-game analysis on stream about the gameplay or recent matches. However, both players and commentators could make fighting games, on a whole, their primary income to a certain degree. Or if not their primary income, they would at least make some money from winning at tournaments or commentating. However, as previously stated, in-person tournaments were pretty much gone in the early to mid parts of 2020. And as a result, people who relied on the FGC tournaments or fighting game related events were left without any way to get a reliable income from the fighting game community, causing some members of the FGC down other avenues to make money whilst still trying to be a part of the fighting game community.
And then I had brought up that, commentators like yourself, you don't have the fallback of, a franchise league to work on. Is that where a lot of all of this extra content came from? Was it just like a way to keep yourself busy? Like
it's a way to make sure I have food to eat right now. Basically, I'm just trying to build my stream as much as I can, because that's pretty much the only direction that I have in terms of, and just trying to do any sort of online kind of commentary. But unlike League, online fighting games aren't the thing. The netcode is just bad.
Sure, at the time there wasn't much that tournament organizers could do besides make the tournaments go online, which worked for some games. However, some fighting games have notoriously bad delay-based netcode. Or in layman's terms, when playing online, the fighting game can become very laggy very quickly. Despite the lag, some tournaments went online to try and keep the FGC competitive spirit alive. Tournaments like Next Level Battle Circuit and Wednesday Night Fights went online to try and keep fighting game players playing to differing levels of success. Dragon Ball FighterZ was one of the games that decided to make its national championship all online, but that led to even more problems. It wasn't all bad, however, as people wanted to play fighting games and just discuss and view anything to do with fighting game content. Some fighting game YouTubers began to pop up and become much more popular than they were pre-COVID. People had been stuck indoors, and FGC members who couldn't go to in-person tournaments would make videos discussing topics surrounding fighting games. Quite a few FGC channels saw significant growth during the pandemic. Channels such as Brian F, Anime Illuminati and Panda Global, they've all shown significant channel growth since before COVID hit. And I feel that all the FGC members being stuck indoors and starving for anything to do with the fighting game community really helped with that. We may have all been stuck indoors for months, but at least we could spectate people playing our favourite games and watch videos about them. It may have been laggy and not the best all the time, but all members of the FGC knew that eventually in-person tournaments would come back. As time passed, it seemed like the FGC was getting better. But even a year and a half after the initial lockdown, the pandemic's effects were still rippling throughout the FGC. Due to fears of the Delta variant, the EVO 2021 showcase has been cancelled. A year and a half later, and COVID was still causing fear throughout the fighting game community. Despite all this, however, things weren't all that bad. The FGC started to heal, the fighting game community persevered. We ended 2021 with Red Bull Kumite in November at Las Vegas, to some of the most insane sets I've seen in fighting games for a while. EVO just announced its new lineup of which games will be appearing at Evolution 2022. And the Capcom Pro Tour has just started for Street Fighter V. CEO is on course to start in June, and Dungeon Fighter Duel is set to release only a couple weeks away. And on top of that, Street Fighter 6 was just announced. The fighting game community is looking a lot better than it did during the pandemic, and we all have a hell of a lot to look forward to. And even though tournaments are only now just starting to be in person again, and less restrictions are being placed on the public, fighting game content is still being created even though COVID is seemingly less and less prevalent. And I couldn't be more excited to watch FGC content online. If I have to end this with a message, it's this. The FGC is a very tight-knit and passionate community, but we're not very big when compared to other gaming communities. But if you want to help the FGC in any way, support your locals, watch your favourite FGC content, watch your favourite fighting game streamers, and just play fighting games. Talk to your friends about fighting games and tell them why they should play fighting games. I've been Josh, and thank you for watching.
We all feel the same way, of course, I think, James. I mean, it's been one of those weekends, you know, we all come together to celebrate fighting games, and as he said, fighting games are great.
Dang it, why did you have to say that?
Well, I know, that's, you guys don't know, that's what got James the worst. It almost got me too, I won't lie.